think that is the key thing. It's those behaviors that you just decide, I actually don't want them in my life. I don't want to experience them. So that's where over time I've come around to some other kinds of protection. So when you mentioned boundaries, like as a parent and as a teacher, we talk about boundary training, but really that's just like rules around whether they're domesticated or not, like
are they feral or are they domesticated?
Sometimes some children would appear in your class list and you go, oh, there's another undomesticated child, that one still hasn't learned to, keep their mouth closed, or, just things.
Yeah.
And I hadn't kind of twigged until my big kick to the wall moment, that boundary training is for me too about my own boundaries, but not only my own behavioral boundaries, because I'd only had it really in my head as behavior, is my own emotional boundaries.
Yeah.
Like all the different systems, all my psychological boundaries, or my spiritual boundaries. What are my boundaries? Where am I going to go? And if every single one of those boundaries, you can ask for protection. And I'm learning so many different ways to ask for protection. And there's ways like, how did someone try to describe it to me the other day? There's like, I'm asking for a boundary as if, like putting a big wall around myself to keep myself sheltered. But that kind of keeps myself small. And they sowed the idea into me about, well, why don't you ask for protection that just shines your light so bright that those darknesses don't exist anymore? That your brightness shines out their darkness.
Oh, okay. I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot because it's completely on you and in your power. You don't have to respond. You're just setting the tone. Literally, the tone, the bright, brilliant tone.
Yep. And my poor husband I've just watched him experience these things.
He's your guinea pig. You're like, I'm going to observe his reaction.
And then I pointed out to him afterwards and go, well, you know how I'd mentioned a few weeks ago that I didn't want this particular kind of thing in my life. I didn't want to experience it. So I started asking for protection, but, I don't know, just pick a negative energy of any negative emotion of any description, like say I just don't want
I'm picking irritation. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, right, I don't want that anywhere inside of my house. I want to feel safe in my house, but I don't experience that anymore. I don't want that in any way, shape, or form. All of a sudden, he stopped watching TV. He stopped watching the news. It was just like this sudden thing. This is somebody who used to watch like 3 different channels of news and have the radio on. All of a sudden, he just stopped. I went, oh, well, that just worked. And I've just been waiting. Is he going to turn the news on another day? Is he going to turn it on? Because the news was bringing in this like negativity that I didn't like. Because there was all the sensationalism and it was just coming in. It might not have just been like the entire news segment, but it might be just like one little snippet. And it was like, oh, look at that. How about that? How much fun is that? Look, I asked and I received. And then I noticed that when I was out in public, that those energies were coming in again. I'm like, do I have to ask for this in every location?
Wait, hold on. I need to know clarification. What energies were coming back in your house, or the energies that weren't in your house?
The ones that I'd asked for not to be in my home.
Okay.
If I went out in public, like there might be TV going on, a TV screen going on in the background in a cafe or in a pub or somewhere, or there might have just been people talking amongst themselves and that had that same negative energy that I'd specifically asked to not be in my house. Like, so how can I ask? Do I have to ask in every location for this same thing? That's arduous. because I'm a bit lazy, a lot lazy. What can I do so that this doesn't happen? And then along came somebody saying, oh, no, there was a few stages in between. So then I said, all right, I don't want this to be anywhere in like my little bubble of energy field, like within 3 meters of myself. Okay, well, that worked. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can try for my entire property, because I'm on a couple of hectares, so like 5 acres. I wonder if I can ask for my entire property. All of a sudden, people didn't come and visit me. Like,
wait, was that good or bad? Was that a desire?
It's like, okay, well, I haven't got any of their energy then. I haven't got any of that negativity. Okay.
Yeah, but then you also don't have any visitors.
Look, I don't feel lonely. It's fine. I'm totally fine.
Okay. I just was like, was your protection working too well? Nah, I liked it like that.
I'm fine. And do you know what? It was working that even the people that I met on my online networking events weren't bringing that energy. All of a sudden, people were dropping off of some regulars weren't coming. They weren't there. They weren't showing up.
Wow.
I was like, oh, look at this happening. Thank you. This is cool. And then I thought, right, I've got to ask for something so that when I'm out and about, out of my home and out of my property, how can this happen? So then I asked for none of that to come within my expansive energy field. To start with, it was just me and my little bubble. But I'm like, no, I want my big, broad energy field. I just don't want that in my energy field at all. And then that coupled at about the same time as this person telling me about like, just shine your light so bright that there is no dark. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm not really sure how to do that, but I'm just going to give it a go. Whichever one of those things, it's showing up as those dark energies just aren't around.
In my experience, you don't really have to know how something works from the beginning. It's being open that it can happen, that it can work, that you can learn it. Like, you know that saying that you're a teacher, so maybe you do. Maybe it's like, maybe you'll be like, that's such cliche, but like when the student's ready, the teacher appears or whatever. It's like when the path is like, when you're ready for the path, when you're open to a path opening, a path can open. Like if you don't have an opening, the path won't open. Like crazy how that works.
Well, I think the doors to these paths are there all the time.
Yeah, but they're not going to open if you're not opening them.
But sometimes our eyes and ears just don't have the key to unlock them, or our, a creative brain just goes, actually, I can open that door and I can go down that path.
Yes.
And that is what I choose. It's like choosing, I'm saying yes instead of saying no.
I want to segue. Can I segue? Like I'm antsy for it. I'm over here like dancing. Like I need to bring in this question. So I love so much that like you're focusing like your bright light, your space. How do other people relate to that? Not so much whether they come in or not, but like how do you feel about protecting other people? Or how like are you enforcing your will by being like, this is not allowed? Are you limiting other people's expression? Like when you're living in that bubble, like you mentioned that you have all your hectares, like we don't use that measurement. So how do you say it?
Hectares.
Yeah, that. Hectares.
Hectares.
It's just hectares. Hectares.
Yeah, it's got an ARES. Yeah, hectares.
Okay, AR. Yes. Hectares.
Yeah,
hectares. Hectares.
Yeah.
Okay. It was like I was trying to put acres in there for some reason. I speak English natively, just not Australian. Not metric.
Not metric.
Anyway, so to get back on point. I'm curious, like this is one of like those devil's advocates voices, and I could just go ditch, but I am curious. So I'm just like, I want to ask you because I can. Like, how do you feel about the intersection of like your will for protection and other people? Like, because they do intersect somewhere.
They do. So I have the attitude that I've asked and I will receive. How that shows up for other people is up to their free will. It's up to whatever happens out there divinely. That I don't need to have any control over that, how that works out for them and whatever happens. So in some of those moments about asking for protection, I'll wake up in the morning and look at my calendar, because often people will book into me for appointments with me while I'm asleep. And I wake up and I look and go, oh my God, that's so hectic. I should have blocked out some time for me. How am I going to fit everything in? And then something else might happen in the family or, at home, and go. And as I'm walking out to do the morning routine of feeding the pets outside, I'll be thinking about this and going, oh, I just don't know how I'm going to get through all of this today. Seriously, in the 5-10 minutes that I'm out feeding the pets, by the time I get back in, inevitably somebody has cancelled and given me that space that I needed. And I don't feel bad about that. I was like, I just say thanks. And often people will come in apologising, like, I'm really sorry, this has cropped up for me and I'm unable to attend. Can we reschedule? I'm like, absolutely, you can reschedule, sure. And sometimes I get to my laptop here and expecting somebody to come through and they don't. But I'm also going, well, actually, I've really got this other task that I really want to do and finish. And they don't show up. They're a no-show. And I'm just like, look at that. I've been looked after. Thank you. I don't look at it as a detriment. I look at it as a positive thing. And I started in that same similar attitude of I'll be asking for blessed travel, asking for protection to get to an appointment on time, knowing that I've probably left it a little bit late to, get there. And then there'll be a car going really slow in front of me that I can't overtake. So I've taken it to okay, so what are they protecting me from? I've asked for protection. It's going slow. Looks like I'm not going to arrive on time. It's protecting me from something. I don't know what it is. I don't have to know, but it's protecting me. So sometimes I actually arrive at my appointments precisely on time. Sometimes I arrive a few minutes late. But every time I've arrived a few minutes late, something else has happened at the event or the appointment, or that has meant that they were having a late start anyway, and I'm actually on time.
So you're like a wizard. You're not early, you're not late. You're just right when you intend to be there. Like what Gandalf does.
Back when I was still teaching, there was all sorts of professional development that we went through about when a child does walk in late to class, knowing that most of it's not the child's responsibility to get to school on time. There's, it's not all on their shoulders.
Yeah.
So, because, they're unable to drive, they're only 6 years old, whatever. So just tell them that they I'm happy to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And then just help them settle into the day. And then somebody, I don't know where it came into my mind, just to tell them, no, you're perfectly on time. And I had a moment recently where somebody came in late. They looked really worried. I hadn't met them before. They were coming into a networking event that I was hosting, and I said, no, you're perfectly on time. And it just fell out my mouth. Then I found out later that person was actually really struggling that day, severely struggling with their own mental health. And to hear those words nearly put her into tears.
Aww.
To know that, she was welcome and it was okay. And, not to feel embarrassed. And I didn't make a fuss about it. I just kind of said that, here's a seat. It's perfect. Here you are, perfectly on time. And then just kept talking so that I wasn't paying lots of attention to her. To let her settle. And I think sometimes when I ask for my protection in my travel, I am perfectly on time. I'm always perfectly on time. However, whether I'm, a long time before the event or appointment starts or after. I'm always perfectly on time. And I'll always get a car park that makes me perfectly on time. Whether it's right at the front door or whether it's, under the shade of a tree on a hot day, I'll always be perfectly on time.